So as you're most probably aware of the recent Charlotte train situation where a professional criminal who got arrested 14 times only served once for 5 to 6 years for armed robbery, but the rest of the times he pinky sweared the judges that he's going to be a good boy and he's not going to do it again. And on the 15th time he decided to unalive someone defenseless, just sitting, minding her own business, not even looking in his direction, and decided to, shataka to the afterlife. Now, the aftermath of the situation came out, how she reacted. It's a very disturbing footage. I'm not going to show you the actual thing when it happened. I am going to blur out all the blood and I'm going to show you how she reacted so you can... It's a very painful watch, but I think it's necessary for me to show you because of these donkeys who went on CNN yesterday and defended the Carlos, saying that the mentally ill doesn't know that he's mentally ill. He shouldn't be put in prison because of his mental disorder. Oh, he got arrested 14 times. He's a delulu. He thinks there's a handmade machine inside himself and he cannot control his actions. He deserved a 15th chance. He deserved all 14 chances to walk free and be the same as us because obviously he doesn't know that he has mental disorder, right?
Certain people have been looking for an opportunity to find a case like this, to make a point like this. I want to play, this is Charlie Kirk, why he says this hasn't gotten a lot of attention.
A white Ukrainian refugee was murdered just because she was white. Everybody knows that, obviously. If a random white person simply walked up to and stabbed a nice, law-abiding black person for no reason, it would be an apocalyptically huge national story used to impose national sweeping political changes on the whole country. Instead, Megan Basham, no one seems to care when a white woman gets stabbed to the death.
Wow. He said white a lot.
Well, we are talking about it here on ABC, so I guess
True.
I don't think that's fair. Look, being in the system, because I have represented people who are mentally ill, and here's the balance. The balance is taking away people's freedom versus evaluating their mental illness. In New York City, there are a lot of programs for people who are mentally ill, but they have to want to be there.
Yeah, and it's
about
difficult
forcing them
because
to be there.
when you are mentally ill, you have a hard time knowing that you are mentally ill. But also, I mean, people like Charlie Kirk, they've been looking for opportunities to make this some sort of like reciprocal George Floyd situation.
Now, I wanted you to watch the whole thing before I say my piece on this. Be prepared, this is gonna get controversial. But before we get to the race topic, I've said this before in my videos, I do not care about black, white, orange, purple, green, whatever, right? I care about right and wrong. If a race decides to be racist towards another race, it doesn't mean everyone from that race is racist. It just means that that specific person is racist. And I gotta say, that absolute piece of shit, donkey lunatic, I am very angry at him. You'll know why after I show you the video. But that donkey was a racist.
Then, while standing alone, he seems to utter his reason for this whole thing.
No, she didn't, you psychopath. She didn't even look at you rather than speak to you. She didn't even know who you are. And the reason I'm talking about this is because they are coming out and defending his part. There is no defending. I just want to debunk what they're saying over here, which really, really pissed me off. And just to debunk it even more, out of all the people there, the second she walked in, he only focused on her. Why no one else? Question mark. You know what I mean? Like, end of the day, it is about right and wrong. But if you're saying, oh, they're trying to use this as an opportunity to call this man a racist. He's not. He is, literally.
And that's the part that I think he's almost giving away the game, and it's sad to see a lot of people going along with it.
Let me just say a couple of things. One is, what happened to that young woman was horrible. And it's everybody's nightmare. If you're in any public space, subway, whatever, that something bad is going to happen to you or somebody you care about. So it does strike a chord. We don't know why that man did what he did. And for Charlie Kirk to say, we know he did it because she's white, when there's no evidence of that, it's just pure race mongering, hate mongering.
This guy's name is Van Jones. Van Jones, if I ever see you in public, I am going to kiss that shiny forehead with my shatalks. We do not know. I don't think he watched the full video, because if he did watch the whole video and this is the words coming out of his mouth, crazy.
Where is the George Floyd Policing Act? It didn't pass. There were no sweeping changes. In fact, not one law was passed at the federal level. So I think that's an important thing to point out. The other thing is, you mentioned the thing about cashless bail. I think this is a big challenge that we have. Would you have felt better if there had been cash bail and the mom had come and put down $1,000 to let him out? It's not about cashless bail or no cashless bail. It's about the fact that we don't know how to deal with people who are hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people. What happened was horrible, but it becomes an opportunity for people to jump on bandwagons. And then for someone like Charlie Kirk, he should be ashamed of himself. No one mentioned the word race, white, black, or anything except him. What people mention is the horror.
I honestly think they're rage baiting right now. I don't believe the words coming out of their mouth. We don't know why he did, what he did. He was sick and all of that. Brother, he literally said the reason why he did it. I am lost for words. I am disgusted inside and out by just hearing the words coming out of these people's mouths. Now, before I show you the actual thing, you know what? Let me show you this first before we jump to the next subject of, them arguing over why he shouldn't have been in jail after 14 arrests. Just a quick disclaimer, skip like 20 to 30 seconds. Front, if you don't want to watch this, I am going to blur it out, but just have a look at this.
It is just pure horror. Look at this girl's eyes. Tragic. She had to make eye contact with evil, and terror is on her face. Now the shock of realizing that something's wrong. She probably doesn't even know she's been stabbed yet, and the pain in her neck is probably just starting to creep in. And now she's left to cry as her life slips away, alone, because not a single person could offer her help or even an "are you okay?" You could give these people the benefit of the doubt, as perhaps they don't quite realize what happened, especially because it happened so quick and without warning. The guy walks down the train, which I've blurred to spare you the blood that's everywhere, and he seems to say, "I got that white girl." Then, while standing alone, he seems to utter his reason for this whole thing. After he leaves, you can hear some people finally discover what's happened. This video might be excruciating to watch, but it should be seen by everyone, because this is horrific, and it's being allowed to happen across the country.
When I tell you I shivered when I first saw this footage of the aftermath of a defenseless woman just minding her own business, who was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. She just got off work. She just wanted to go home, and then this lunatic who's been arrested 14 times, who's been diagnosed by being a delulu, schizophrenic. Literally, the mother said that he got so violent after he got diagnosed, and he got arrested and released, and then he got too aggressive that I had to even kick him out of the house.
The suspect's mother said about her own son. She says when Brown was released from prison, Brown's mom said he started saying weird things. She says she got Brown evaluated, but his behavior became aggressive. So she got an involuntary commitment order from the courts. He was placed under psychiatric monitoring for 2 weeks and diagnosed with schizophrenia. But after he was released, she says Brown became so aggressive she had to kick him out. He became homeless. Brown's mom says the court should have never let her son out in the community knowing he had mental health issues and previous arrests.
Making a comment saying that he shouldn't have been released from prison. Even his brother came out and said that, hey, this whole thing could have been prevented if you would have kept his crazy ass inside prison and not release him for 14 times. Now that you have the whole context, now that you've seen what exactly happened, let's go actually watch what these people are saying, how they're defending him, saying that, hey, he had all the right to breathe. The all the 14 times I got arrested, he has the right to breathe the same air as everyone else, even though he's a big delulu.
Absolutely.
One of the discussions that we've had earlier this week is that one of the failures that we have is that we have not figured out how to actually provide that kind of care. That, if someone is actually seriously mentally ill, maybe on the verge of violence, where do they go?
We're unwilling
Except
to
on the
put
street.
in
Or
the
North Carolina, not on the
resources
verge
to
of
that. We say
violence,
throw them to
actually
jail.
demonstrated violence in the past and nobody flagged it. Actually, the police, to your point, said, we're going to refer you to more resources, and that went nowhere. So there were multiple...
What do you mean nobody flagged it? He served time for his violent offenses. In the
Not
past.
for his schizophrenia.
Why
That's not a crime.
That's not a crime.
No, I know, but I'm saying that was compounding this entire issue.
Yeah, I know,
the
but I'm
fact that he
saying
lashed out violently on that
I know,
train.
I'm just saying he did actually serve time for the violent offenses
Yes.
that he committed.
But he was a career criminal, a repeat offender who was let back onto our streets despite a really bad criminal record that suggests he should have been locked away for life because he was threatening the public. He was a menace to society.
He should have been locked away for life for what now?
He should have schizophrenia.
You want him to...
You actually said that. I can't believe you actually said that. Somebody should be locked away in jail forever for schizophrenia.
Believe it. Yes, he should have been locked away for his schizophrenia. If you don't know what that is, that's when someone hears voices, has an imaginary friend, a person who actually talks to himself and doesn't have control over his actions. Now, she could have said she kind of implied it, a violent schizophrenia person who has a rap sheet of fucking the whole CV, a very professional CV of, crimes. He should have been locked away. And the crazy part is, Elon Musk reposted this saying that the NGO, the non-government organizations who paid $3.3 million in total in 2020 to continue safely reducing the jail population. Why would you donate $3.3 million in total just to, kick people out of prison? What are they even gonna tell the people? Sorry guys, grow eyes in the back of your asses. Make sure you are aware anywhere you go in public, because we have to reduce the jail population since we got a $3.3 million donation. So, just watch out wherever you are, because there are lunatic psychopaths around you that we cannot keep in prison. Why? Because, just too much population and this and that. But just for your peace of mind, do not worry. All the 14 times that this guy got arrested, or other people, the amount of times they got arrested and they got released, we pinky swear them, they pinky swear us. They accept our pinky swear that they're not going to do this again. This one was just a bad apple. This was just went full Coco mode. But the rest of the people, I think they're fine. And even the former DC police chief in 2023 said that the average homicide suspect has been arrested 11 times prior to committing a homicide. So we keep on releasing them. So the pinky promises, he said in 2023, the pinky promises, they don't really work.
What we got to do, if we really want to see homicides go down, is keep bad guys with guns in jail. Because when they're in jail, they can't be in community shooting people. So when people talk about what we're going to do different, or what we should do different, what we need to do different, that's the thing that we need to do different. We need to keep violent people in jail. Right now, the average homicide suspect has been arrested 11 times prior to them committing a homicide. That is a problem. That is a problem.
I stand with what I say. Psychopaths who talk to their imaginary friend, who are violent, whose mothers are reporting them to the police and kicking them out of the house. They need to be not locked away in a hospital. They need to be locked away in prison. You release them because prison is overpopulated. Well, paid for them. At least you're keeping the community safe. People don't have to look, behind their back every 3 seconds to make sure that no one's going to talk them to the afterlife. And even a Colorado sheriff admits that he was forced to release very dangerous inmates from jail because of the state law that requires criminals found incompetent to stand trial to be released. Like, what the actual fuck?
It's a very violent crime, and how rapidly this person has accumulated contacts with law enforcement, it's concerning.
Weld County Sheriff Steve Reams is warning his residents of a man he released from jail.
not by his own choosing, but because the suspect was ruled incompetent to stand trial.
With that ruling, we're forced to release that individual.
That individual is Debisa Ephraim, a 21-year-old who Reams says is seen in these videos fighting northern Coloradans. The videos, too graphic to be shown in full, show men being knocked unconscious and then continuously punched in the face while lying on the ground.
He's a very dangerous person, and his actions, from what we can tell, were unprovoked.
So why did he walk free without ever seeing a jury? Reams says it's the result of House Bill 1034, signed into law last year by Governor Jared Polis. The law, at its core, said those found incompetent to stand trial should be sent to mental health care instead of incarceration. But that is contingent on the suspect qualifying for that care, which Ephraim did not, Reams says. So Monday morning, he walked free from charges like attempted murder and the cell that he lived in for the last 5 months.
And an update about the judge who let him go for the 14th time is going to shock you more than the first time you told your cat, pss, 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 but they told you to go fuck yourself. Apparently, none of the judges have a law degree or even required to have a law degree, so they can just, judge people's freedom without knowing what, actually studying law.
Did you know the judge that released this guy didn't even go to law school? Yeah. Not even a lawyer. Yeah, these magistrate judges that are making a decision to release these people without bail, yeah, they're not even lawyers. They didn't go to law school. They didn't pass the bar. They just got appointed to be judges. No training required. Oh yeah, and that's the case in states like North Carolina, South Carolina, West Virginia, Texas, Arizona. They don't even have to be lawyers, but they can be judges. They don't have to go to law school. They don't have to pass the bar. However, they sit in judgment over people who did. How the fuck is this a thing? How the fuck do we have judges who didn't even study the law? How did this ever become a thing? That's one of the most insane things I've ever heard. Like, to be somebody's lawyer, you have to go to law school, you got to pass the bar. Like, just to represent a client, you have to do that. To be able to prosecute that person, you got to go to law school, you got to pass the bar. But to be the judge, to be the person overseeing these lawyers, to be the ultimate arbiter of the law, you don't have to go to law school. You don't have to pass the bar.
Now, Congress Team Mort said today in a letter calling for removal for the magistrated Judge Teresa, the person who let him go for the 14th time. He got 10 signatures from members of Congress. Oh, yeah, it is a bye-bye for her. And I think she should not only be fired, she needs to be charged and investigated as well. And for DeCarlos over here, first of all, they created a GoFundMe for him, and then they banned it. Now they created a second GoFundMe, believe it or not. That is probably going to get banned as well. Even the Attorney General came out and said we are going to take this to the full extent of the law. Fuck that. Chair options: the chair, hanging, or injection. Multiple choice. I think the aftermath video really triggered me, and I just had to share my thoughts about this whole thing as well. A lot of people are taking this seriously, which is good, and hopefully, judges won't pinky swear people anymore, and they would actually, a lunatic psychopath who's diagnosed with this mental illness, who sees cuckoo friends, and who's violent, needs to be kept behind bars. Anyways, more videos over here. Like, subscription, it's much appreciated. You take it easy. I'll see you at the next one.